Hello there, I'm Rupert, and welcome back to the next in this series of special bar chats that relate to how the PMO operates in a moment of crisis like we've been having over the last few weeks. What I want to focus on today is how you run the sort of perfect Steerco, what is really possible and what's realistic in terms of running a Steerco in this online working from home type environment. And I think the thing to focus on here is the fundamentals clearly don't change. Now, one of the mistakes that we see time and time again, I see it everywhere I go, is Steercos that are not really Steercos. Far too many people invited. And the danger, it becomes, I think, even greater in this remote scenario that you create a meeting for a Steerco and it's just very easy to send out invites using email or Teams or whatever. It's just very easy. And all of a sudden you've got 20 people coming to a Steerco. Just remember what a Steerco is really all about. It's a key decision-making forum. And in order to take decisions, there are some steps that you need to go through in order to be effective in that meeting. What you're wanting to do is to pull the right people into the room or onto the conference call or onto the Teams video call or whatever, but pull the right people into the room to take the key decisions that need to be taken. And actually in a COVID-19 situation, that may become more important than ever because it's very unpredictable where we're heading with all of these programs at the moment, and therefore key decisions are going to become more important. So firstly, have the right people in the room. Probably no more than 4 or 5 people, maybe 5 or 6, but it's not a big assembly of people. Secondly, make sure you focus on the right agenda. Now, I find that the best way to do that, and I'm going to give you an example, is to actually, if you design your presentation pack in the right way, it'll force the right agenda. And generally, the Steerco really only wants two or three things, and it's pretty simple. The first thing is they want to know what the current status of the program is, and the RAG status is a good method of doing that, but they want to know what's behind that. Why is it amber? What's the situation? And more importantly, they want to know what the back to green approach or process is. What are we doing? What are those actions, those back to green actions? They need to know what the executive escalations are. So what are the things you're expecting of us, or how can we help? And remember that it's the dialogue that they're interested in on that call. So whether it's Teams, in a room, on a phone call, whatever it is, they're much more interested in the quality and the confidence that comes across within the dialogue than they are what's on the actual screen itself. So concentrate on the current status, very simple. If it isn't green and it's amber or red, what's the back to green approach or series of actions? The executive escalations, what are those executive escalations? Then the 2 or 3 decisions that we're looking to have taken in this Steerco, be very specific about them. And then they will almost certainly want to have some picture of both the timeline, but also those really important risks. And not just sort of what are the risks, but also what are the mitigations that are associated with those risks. And then, clearly often there'll need to be a dialogue about where we are in terms of budget and cost, and particularly at a moment like this where all the belts are being tightened, that focus is very important. So I think the key thing for me is make sure you have the right people in the room. Make sure your agenda is structured correctly and use your presentation formats to do that. If you can make these formats automated so that they populate automatically, then everyone's working off the same format for every project in the portfolio, and that makes a huge difference, which is something that we aim for. Be clear about the decisions that need to be taken. And the final thing I would say is those 4 or 5 people, when they come into that Steerco, you need to know where their heads are in relation to the 2 or 3 key decisions you need taken. So you have to log lobby in advance. You must do your preparation work. Get a Teams meeting in the diary. Do it using video so you can see the body language, and you'll be able to tell whether they're a supporter or a blocker of those key decisions. And if they're a blocker, you've got to come up with ways around that before you present the decision to Steerco. Otherwise, when it gets to the Steerco, the barrier will come down and the decision will not be taken, or it'll be taken in the wrong direction. So lots to think about there. Totally possible online. Just keep it simple. Focus on the fundamentals, and I'm sure you'll be very successful with your Steercos. Anyway, stay safe and good luck.
Thank you for coming to the bar chat today. It's been great to have you in the bar, and I hope you've enjoyed the topic we've been talking about. Now, if there's anything in this topic, if there's anything in this bar chat that's particularly resonated with you, or there's a challenge that you're facing with your portfolio or your program or your stakeholders or whatever it might be, then one of the things that I'm offering is a free private bar function. So you can either come into our very own bar and come and be a part of it, and I promise you there'll be a drink waiting here for you, or I'll come to you, or we'll have a phone call, and we can maybe kick the tires on over a bar chat on a challenge that you're facing internally with your program, portfolio, or whatever. If you want to do that, please take me up on the offer. I don't expect anything in return, and I really genuinely don't. You're very welcome to just click the link in the post on LinkedIn. There's a link in there. Connect and register, and we will be in touch to sort a private bar function out. Come and see me in the bar.